Good day, brothers and sisters in Christ. I welcome you to our Sunday reflection for the fourth Sunday of Easter, Year A. The theme of our reflection is the lost sheep. I came that they may have life and have it abundantly. John chapter 10, verse 10. Good Shepherd Sunday reminds me of an Australian sheep named Barak. It became famous and even garnered an incredible number of views on TikTok. What was the reason for its fame? Barak had been missing for a long time. When rescuers found the abandoned animal, it was weighed down by more than 75 pounds of wool. There is no title to covet for having so much fleece. It was the most neglected sheep in the world. A sheep produces approximately 7.3 pounds of wool a year. It needs to be sheared annually to keep its coat light and help regulate its body temperature. The rescuers took Barak to an animal sanctuary where it was sheared within 28 minutes. After the shearing, it was clear the poor animal was underweight. The wool around its face impaired its vision. Grit and debris collected in the gap between its cornea and lid, and a grass seed lodged there caused an ulcer. Our readings reminds us that though we often choose to become lost, Jesus rose from the dead to be our good shepherd and to bring abundance into our lives. The first reading tells us that baptism makes us capable of experiencing such abundance, which, as our second reading reminds us, even suffering cannot take away. Jesus states in the Gospel that hearing his voice leads us into abundance regardless of our situation. If we are not experiencing abundance, it is not because God hates us. It is because failing to listen to his voice, we are lost. And like Barak, the lost sheep, we are carrying 75 pounds of sin on our shoulders. If Jesus tells us to listen to his voice, it is because he's speaking. But if he's speaking, why don't we notice? The answer is obvious. We are stuck in our ways and unwilling to change. Hence, we have strong ideas contradicting what he's saying. Too often, we come to him with our own agenda, which is why we are greeted by his silence in our prayers. Hearing and following Jesus' voice is meant to make us more like him. Therefore, the silence we are experiencing may be due to our agenda for hearing and Jesus' agenda for speaking being mismatched. We come to him asking whether to take a new job, where to live, or whom to marry. He comes to us asking us to forgive our Father, wash the dishes, and be kind to the grumpy next door neighbor. What we need to do is set aside our agenda and allow Jesus to speak to us about whatever is in God's heart. This will enable us to apply what we hear in our lives. The effect may be coping with a tough situation or even fighting an injustice. This kind of understanding positions our hearts to hear Jesus clearly every time. Sadly, we hardly listen to Jesus and are fixated on our agenda. St. Therese Lisieux has this to say about listening to God, and I quote, "The ordinary circumstances of daily life bring back the same routines and often the sense of going nowhere. But nowhere is where God is most active. God and daily life are always in dialogue and sometimes in a state of war. There is a struggle to figure out what God is saying in the events and circumstances of daily life, and how daily life is meant to transform us. Listening to God in silent, loving attentiveness enables us to let go of our preconceptions and over-identifications with the events of daily life, which tends to dominate our emotional reactions rather than invite our free response. End of quote. The daily events give us the opportunity to listen to Jesus so that we can become his true disciples and experience his protection and nourishment. We become lost sheep when we lose our capacity to listen. So this week I invite you to do the following. Set aside 10 minutes every day to listen to the voice of Jesus. Secondly, pray for vocations to the priestly and religious life. Finally, be a good shepherd for someone experiencing a rough time. If someone has been a good shepherd to you, consider letting them know. Have a blessed day.